Welcome to Juicing with Jen Detox Diaries number 5. Today, when I started researching about how not to have cancer come back or how to prevent cancer or just how to optimize my health in general, three words kept popping up. And I'm sure they're three words that you're not going to be surprised to hear. They are fat, salt, and sugar. So, and when I would actually research, I would find that there was contradictory evidence. So, for example, I would hear a high fat can actually cause cancer, yet our bodies actually need fat in order to function properly. I would hear Epsom salts are great for detoxing, and yet then I would hear that salt causes high blood pressure and can lead to bloating. And then sugar. There was an internet article that was going all around Facebook that talked about how sugar causes cancer. So, what out of all of these is actually true? So, again, remember, I am not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian. However, I do try to look up reliable sources like from WebMD, or I do try to actually look up scientifically proven research on the internet. And here's what I found. All right, let's talk about fat first. Um, Fat does not cause cancer. However, a high fat diet can increase cancer risk, especially in regard to breast cancer and colon cancer. What I found is that we actually do need fat to for our bodies to function properly. Originally I was kind of hearing like 2 tablespoons, and I think I got that from the Gerson, kind of their recommended diet plan. But when I did a little bit more research, we need 20 to 35% of our intake calories to be from fat. So what does that look like? Well, um, I guess about a tablespoon or so per meal. But really, what I started to do with that is just feel my body. Now, remember, fat isn't just the fat that you actually put into foods, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It could be from your dairy products, it could be from your meat products as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. 20 to 35% for myself. I'm just going to say about a tablespoon or so for each meal. The other thing that I learned in regard to fat is that you want to try to get it in liquid form as much as possible. So, solid form would be like your butter and your lard, and liquid form would probably be more like olive oil. Now, this is a little bit misleading because um, the biggest health craze right now is actually about coconut oil. And to be honest, I have started to cook with coconut oil as much as possible for popcorn, for stir fry, for pretty much everything. Now, obviously, if I'm going to have a piece of toast, I'm not going to put coconut oil on it. I'm still kind of a butter girl. But the point is, I don't really eat a lot of toast and I don't really eat a lot of butter. And when I actually cook cookies for my boys, I'm going to use butter, not coconut oil. But a lot of my meals, for example, my oatmeal in the morning, I'll fry up a banana with a little bit of coconut oil and I'll mix that into my oatmeal. Or if I do stir fry, I will put all the veggies into a container, not cooked, and then I'll just take a couple out, put some coconut oil in there, and stir fry my veggies. Or for popcorn, you could actually still put the coconut oil in there and pop your popcorn that way, if you do it old fashioned like I do, instead of putting it in the microwave. So it's a little bit misleading. For the most part, you want to choose a liquid oil over a solid oil, but coconut oil does look a little bit liquefied. I did do some research. It can actually help lower your cholesterol levels, and it can actually help you lose weight. So again, I've started to go with coconut oil. The Gerson therapy actually talked about the benefits of flaxseed oil, but when I began to research this a little bit more, flaxseed oil is wonderful for almost anybody who doesn't have breast cancer. This can actually act like estrogen in your body, so you want to be really careful with it. And so if you have breast cancer, had breast cancer, I've actually started to move away from flaxseed oil instead of towards it. Okay, so that's fat. Salt. I used to take Epsom baths all the time, but then I started to learn that our body, our skin, can actually absorb whatever we put on it, whatever we soak in, and so I started to research salt just a little bit more. We do need it. So when you buy it, you want to make sure that it is 100% salt. A lot of like the Morton's salt that you might actually buy in the stores might actually contain like little bits of glass, and it might not be 100% salt. So when you do buy it, make sure it is real salt, and also that it is iodized, okay? Because we actually need that for our bodies to function. How much salt do we actually need to take in? This is it, right here, 1 teaspoon. And I want you to think, and I'm actually going to go through a couple products that you might have in your house that I just pulled off of my shelf as to what 1 teaspoon might actually look like as you are cooking. Okay. So I've actually also given up Epsom salt baths. What I have found with salt is that it does cause bloating. You do need some, about a teaspoon, but think about how much salt you might actually put in an Epsom salt bath. That's quite a bit that your body could be absorbing. And since I've reduced my salt and I've reduced my sugar and I started detoxing, that's one of the topics I'm going to talk about tomorrow. How do you know this detoxing stuff is actually working? I used to feel bloated and heavy quite a bit, and ever since detoxing, I haven't felt bloated or heavy at all. So my recommendation with salt is limit it as much as possible, but you need at least your teaspoon a day in order for your body to properly function. Okay, sugar. There was a really popular article going around on Facebook saying that sugar causes cancer. And I just found that that's not true. Every cell, healthy or cancerous, does need sugar to function. And here's kind of a line that I really liked. Starving your cells of sugar won't kill or prevent cancer, but it will deprive your healthy cells of a necessary source of energy. What can happen is if you have a diet that is high in sugar, that tells your liver to constantly send out insulin, which can put stress on your body, and it can also tell your body to store that sugar into fat. And then again, that high fat content, if you're overweight, can also increase your risk for cancer. So it's not necessarily that sugar causes cancer, but it can increase your risk based on the storage of the fat and just putting a lot of stress on your liver and your body not being able to get rid of the toxins that it needs to get rid of. So, how much sugar should we have per day? Let's go back to this teaspoon. As I researched, women should only have about 6 of these a day, and men should have, unfortunately, they get to have a little bit more. They can have 9. What does that convert into? Well, I Googled it a little bit. I looked up a conversion, and it looks like 1 teaspoon equals about 5 grams. So, what is that going to look like? Well, just to put it into perspective, I grabbed this out of my son's room, and maybe I shouldn't even admit that occasionally I will let my son buy whatever he wants with his money, and these are some of the things that he chooses to buy because I won't necessarily buy it for him. So this is Mountain Dew, and when I look at the back of this, there are 2 servings in this container. One serving is 46 grams of sugar, okay? And 1 teaspoon, I found out, is 5 grams. So if you can only have, 5 or 6 of these a day, half of this container would be it for your sugar. And I haven't even started to talk about carbs yet. So this would be it. That's all you could eat, drink for the day. And it is processed sugar, which I saw a video online saying that when we take in chemicals that our body doesn't know what they are, they also kind of store those into fat. Processed sugar might be one of those chemicals. So how do you get your sugar? As I've been talking about, I actually started juicing. Now, don't think that you can grab a juice out of any store whatsoever, to be honest, and think that that's going to be natural sugar. It's still processed just as much as this Mountain Dew is. I actually bought a juicer, and I make my own juice once or twice a day. When I Googled and when I researched that, or you could have a piece of fruit, okay? A piece of fruit will have about 10 grams of sugar, where vegetables are really, really low in sugar. So you can eat, this has been constant no matter what I research, as many vegetables as you want, especially dark leafy green ones. Even carrots are pretty low in sugar. They are about 3 grams of sugar each, like a big large one. And it makes sense that when I actually do my carrot juice, because I might put in 2 carrots, and then I might put in an apple. Now all of a sudden, even with my fresh juice, I am up to about 20 grams of sugar, okay? 5, 10, 15, 20. That's even just 4 of these. All right. So basically, looking at it, doing the math, I would say and the other thing is that when you take carbohydrates in, so bread, noodles, rice, they will actually take that carbohydrate and in about 30 or 40 minutes convert it into sugar within your body. So here's kind of a basic rule of thumb that I came up with. 5. And when I'm talking about 5, I'm talking about any combination. But I would talk about fruits and carbohydrates. You can have 5 servings of those. So maybe you want to do 3 pieces of fruit for the day and 2 carbohydrates. When I talk about carbohydrates, I'm talking about like 1 piece of toast or half a cup of noodles or half a cup of rice with one of your meals. So I'm just going to call the sugar 5 rule. So fruits and carbohydrates have 5. Okay? Let's see. Looking at some of the things that you have in your house. Campbell's soup. Okay? I'm not perfect about eating and detoxing as well as I should be every day, but the point is this is a process. And to be honest, I really don't eat this anymore. One of the things that I'm working towards is getting rid of as many things like this as possible in my house. But it might be something that you have in yours, and so let's just take a look at it. When I look at it, it has about 2 servings in this can. And when it talks about sodium, it was about 1 gram per serving. So this is 2 grams of sodium. So this would be, if you ate the whole can of soup, that would be double your sodium intake for the day. Okay. Sugars weren't too bad. It was only 2 grams of sugar. But that would be almost half your serving of sugar for the day. And that's chicken soup. Alright, here's something that's in a lot of people's houses. Macaroni and cheese. first of all, I don't really eat any of this stuff anymore. I do have it in the house because I can't force my children or my husband to eat the way that I do. My philosophy is that when people are ready to change their eating habits, they will do it on their own. And this is just from some personal experience. I had spina bifida growing up, and I had a lot of digestive issues. And my mother tried and tried and tried to get me to juice, to get me to eat healthy, to no avail, especially when you're a teenager. So I just have faith that they'll get to some point in their life and they'll want to make these decisions for themselves. In fact, even my 13-year-old is, while he's not making the best decisions, is actually talking about wanting to eat healthy because he wants to, have a nice physical appearance. So I figure when people are ready to change, they're ready to change. So looking at some mac and cheese here, it has, again, this is supposed to serve 2 people, not just one, but I do know many people will eat the whole box. So it does have 1 gram of sodium in here. So again, 2 grams of sodium. This would be twice your recommended sodium for the whole day. And it also has 6 grams of sugar. So if you multiply that times 2, this, if you're a woman, would be twice the amount of sugar, and that doesn't even take into account the carbs that are in here. That it's just a lot of sugar for your body to process. Okay? So, you want to avoid processed foods as much as possible. Always try to get your food fresh. Frozen is the second best thing, and you really want to start trying to move away from processed, canned, and boxed, simply for the sugar and the sodium content, and there's just no nutrients in there. So tomorrow, what I'm going to be talking about is how do you know that all this detoxing is actually working for your body. And until then, thanks for watching. Be blessed, believe, be life.